Hello and welcome to Stars in the Dark. We're in season 3. I think this is episode 6 or 7 of season 3. Since we switched to the big ship and the smugglers and fun stuff. Kai is back, which we're very happy for. Good to see you again. Yeah. We have some things to deal with before we get into the actual game. I'll start with the new wishes that we talked about last time. There is a list of wishes still on one of the tabs. It's on the events tab. There's a long list of things. Actually, I'll run through those quickly as well. Find ways to contact Bria and Kernok. See some dirty stories, find out more about PC backstories, establish a new normal, types of jobs, PC relations, etc. Test the trust between the PCs, see Bade grow, do jobs for Skirbo and or the Hot Cartel, see more of Vruvo before taking him down, get the vengeful ability into play, see how Etma and Bade's relationship develops. I think we can kind of check that one off. I think you've got that going. So I'll tick that box. See some internal conflicts between rebel factions. See how things work out with Becker now that he's kind of in charge of Maxa's rebels. See the new stuff on 1314 and the hovering donut shop, which came from an image someone found. The new ones from last session is to name some NPCs on 1314, which I have done, at least some of them. See some consequences for shifting your focus to 1314. Explore the flashback mechanics a bit more and push for more turf. Those were the new wishes. I'll add those to the list when I have a moment for it. I'll note the status changes for the last job and for Kai's benefit. The last job was escorting the families of some Imperials on 1313 who are working for the rebels, escorting those families out because the Imperials are worried that they'll be discovered and they're about to bug out, but they want their families safe before they leave. So they snuck into SecSec and got these families and got them out. Status changes from that is +1 with the Tor's rebels, which puts you at a +2. They're very friendly with you now. You get a +2 with these Imperial turncoats. Their name is Code Phoenix. They're not very powerful or influential, but they exist. And they like you now. You get a -1 with the ISB, who were the ones watching kind of at least some of these families. So they're the ones who will get the blame for letting them slip away. So I figure let's deal with the prison stuff before we forget. Bria has been episode 6. Yeah, cool. Someone keeps track. Yeah, Bria has been in prison for I think a couple of months at this point. She has made a name for herself. She's established her presence, and this has allowed you to make a claim in the prison. Did I not hide that tab? Didn't do that. Yeah. So now the map looks kind of weird, but it's on the prison tab anyway. Is that kind of claim map. So the ones you can pick are the ones who are right next to the prison, which is guard payoff, which gives you a +1 die to future incarceration rolls, makes things a bit easier for anyone else who goes to prison, or smuggling, which gives you +2 load while incarcerated. That's going to matter if we do something with someone who is in prison and they need to. I think by default you have a load of 0 when you're in prison. So getting a +2 load means you can have things that take up load instead of just the load 0. I know we've discussed before a little bit of, but not really landed on anything for where you wanted to go with this. Yeah. So does anyone have a preference, guard payoff or smuggling?
Guard payoff seems to be the more broadly useful one. And that could lead to some fun stuff, like parole influence or hard case. But yeah, either one looks good.
Yeah, I like this. Might actually build up to a job where we're not getting Bria out, but we're getting somebody else out, like an actual job.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe for the time being, like she'd rather be in a safe and secure place. I was shaking my head earlier. I was like, this is Bria's time to calm down and maybe reflect on why she's such an awful person. And I was like, nope, she didn't do that. She didn't do that at all. Yeah, I would go to the right guard payoff. That's, well,
yeah, the right one opens up several instances of allied claim, which means you can take a claim from a different crew type, so you can improve the gang outside by like making friends with people on the inside. On the left side, you can get parole influence, which reduces the wanted level for setting length of stay, which means if someone goes to prison, they won't go to prison for as long. Or hard case, which reduces the creds cost of advancing the crew tier. It's -2 creds, so it's not a huge, it's not a big thing since you don't advance crew level that often. But it's there if you want it.
And then in the far right upper hand corner is cell block control. Never take trauma from the incarceration roll.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This game is dark. I would push for one of the guard payoffs. I'm just not sure which one.
Cool. Yeah. Does anyone have a preference? Do you want allied claims? Do you want to make things better for the crew outside, or do you want to make things a bit safer when you go inside?
Rich wants stuff for the crew outside. Edema definitely wants safer for folks going inside, because never know when Edema might just go there.
Yeah, I mean, if you get to parole influence, that means that going to prison in order to reduce the wanted level, which also I note drops heat to 0, that becomes kind of an option.
Yeah, so maybe the one to the left.
It at least guarantees that you won't go to prison for life.
Yeah. Right now you're at wanted level 2. A note to Kai, we've split the heat and wanted level between 1313 and 1314, so we have different different on the different levels. Currently you're at 0 on 1314 because you did a really good job of cleaning up after yourselves, or casting the blame on other people. On 1313, your wanted level is 2, which without the parole thing would mean someone would go to prison for several months. With the parole thing, it's a month or 2. So it's more like a few jobs rather than like most of a season. At
Nice.
the pace we can play.
Yeah.
So that could be something to aim for.
Then I would go to the one on the left because that gives us
Yeah.
access to things. Although I don't know what other claim from a different crude type. I don't even know what those might be, but
Yeah, since we haven't looked that much at the claims, but I
That's-
think since you have so much to do with the smugglers, I don't think you need to be in a rush
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
to the
yeah,
other ones, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
yeah, I would definitely go with the left-hand guard payoff.
Mhm.
Then.
Then I will interpret this as the consensus and check that box. Cool. So
It's like a dungeon crawl.
yeah, kind of is.
A question about
figure-
does that turf in the prison count for our turf outside for rep purposes, or is that a
No,
different?
because it's not
Okay.
called turf. It's a claim. A claim is
got
the
it.
general name for these things. It's specifically the ones that are called turf that helps with advancing your
Awesome.
team. Yeah. So we also need to decide which faction Bria has made friends with. But I think we could let that be revealed in play, maybe, if that's okay with you, Kai.
Yeah, I think the last time I remember us talking about it, we were looking at Skirbo. We were going to be helping get their prisoners, incarcerated people back out quicker or something like that. But yeah, no, let's figure it out in play.
Cool. So that's the claim is done. We also have the fallout from the last job. I looked at the options, and this is you're going to get an Avenger. You're going to get Vruvo is coming after you. You went through and shut up his place where he's staying. He's not happy about it. He's trying to mess you up. And mechanically, this means that check. Yeah. An Avenger, you can hire a bounty hunter or other muscle to deal with them or handle it yourself. And I figure you want to do this yourself because you kind of want to deal with, since that's been a wish to deal with Vruvo. Cool. So let's do some catching up for Kai's benefit. I'll throw this out to the rest of you because I've been talking so much for the past hour. So anyone who wants to bring something up, go ahead.
Kai, did you take care of Val's downtime actions? Like cycle through all of those? Oh, you're talking about me.
You're muted.
Yes, I took 3 trainings.
Okay,
and-
that's where you're asking about the training. Okay.
Yep. And then I took 3 ticks towards whatever. I'm sure the clock is like a 12 tick clock or 20 tick clock or something like that to get a the first like real connection inside the cube.
I figure that those, I think we can say that those three actions have achieved that. Especially if Tycho has been working on it as well. Kind of,
right.
I think we can let it show up at a point in play when it makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, does anyone remember what we've been doing the last few sessions? Or
It's been going relatively smoothly. Smuggling arms for the rebels, getting Imperial defectors back up, and aside from the usual hiccups here and there, like there hasn't been any big disasters happening, which is, I feel like, lulled us into a bit of a secure feeling about stuff. And yeah, just looking to see what's going to blow up next.
So we've been traveling between 13 and 14 and delivered some, actually went up to 13, 14 to get some weapons and came back down, and we were doing this for one of the rebel groups. So we met a few rebel people up on 13, 14. And when we came back down, one of the other rebel groups said, hey, we're tapped and we need, we're short on personnel. We need some more guns and we need some help. And so we negotiated between the two rebel groups, and they don't like each other too much, but we negotiated, hey, we'll give part of the part of this ride, part of this stuff to the other guys, but we'll make another run and bring more down. And then I think that was the last run that we did. Did we do another one?
We did the bringing the defectors up.
Oh yeah, that's right. We took some Imperial defectors and their families and took them up to 13, 14 so they could get away. And we were also discussing, as a future job, trying to get a patron.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what that patron was.
Was one of those defectors Bria's supposed to be husband, sister?
Petra.
Petra.
She was the contact for the job. She's the one who's kind of the go-between between Tor's rebels. These Imperials are working with Tor's rebels. She's the go-between between the rebels and the Imperials. But she's still there, embedded. And the Imperials themselves, they haven't actually left yet, but they'll do it very soon. This was their families. They wanted to get their families out first, but they're. I should actually, let's make a fortune roll to see how well things go for them. And I need to. Okay. So I figure these are bureaucrats. They're not super great at this spy stuff. I rolled 2 dice for them, and they get 4. So I think what's happened is that this was like a cell of 5 people. 4 of them got out, but 1 of them was arrested before they could make that.
Maybe they sacrificed themselves so the other 4 could get out or something like that.
Nice.
Could be.
Oh wait, that would mean the Imperials have nobility and morals. Never mind. Just kidding.
Yeah. Regarding the patron, the ones that were most discussed were a couple of the noble houses on 1314. Mainly, I believe, House Nirumal, who are used to be a prominent house. They kind of slid into organized crime. So they're kind of the 3rd big crime family on 1314, along with the Hutt Cartel and the Black Sun. So it was them and House Gilash, I think. The traditionalists, they have a lot of people working in the imperial bureaucracy, but that's not because they're Imperials. That's because the bureaucracy has been around for thousands of years, and having influence with the bureaucracy is useful to them. And since you're very close to becoming tier 3, a patron, if the patron is a faction and not a very powerful individual, it's pretty much going to have to be someone who's tier 4 or 5, and there aren't that many of those around.
So we're about to hit tier 3, or we are tier 3? Oh, okay.
About to hit. Let me check. Yeah, you're tier 2 with stronghold, and you have 2 rep left before you. So the next job, basically, you can advance to tier 3.
How many people do we get in the gang after we get from 2 to 3?
20.
We gained 20 in addition to what we
No,
have.
you move up to 20.
Okay, and we
you're-
have how many right now?
12.
Okay.
Or it's 12-ish, but yeah.
I mean, if we
And-
went, oh, go ahead.
How many creds does it take to go to tier 3?
If you don't have a patron, it costs you, let me see, your new tier times 8, so that's 24. If you have a patron, it's half, so it's 12.
Dang.
How close are
mean-
we? How close are we to 12?
I think we've got 12.
Yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah, you have
There's-
12. You have 8 in the vault, so that's packed.
Dang.
And I'm pretty sure you have 4 between you.
Did I gain any creds on those jobs? If not, that's okay.
I'm not sure. It doesn't look like it.
I'm
It
probably
looks-
spending the money just to get the connection to the cube. So
Oh, that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
But if you need money, we have some in the vaults that can
Yeah.
be used. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think we have like 19 creds right now.
Jeez.
So we could almost make it without a patron. That's interesting.
So we need,
I rich like the idea of a patron and think
Yeah.
that I could go with either one of them, slightly more interested in the one that's already criminal organization, but I do think Steven's logic of like those people will need folks to do things for them and dealing with snooty
Yeah.
imperial or snooty royals is great too. So yeah.
I mean, I think Bria would be like, let's go with the crime
Mm.
family. And so that immediately makes me think that's a bad idea.
Oh my goodness, so much conflict with your own
Mm.
character. It's amazing.
Yeah, I definitely think that, you know, I mean, if they're already in crime, then their ability to take us down with them for something is a lot higher than these people who just need a
so I
major,
think,
major
I
domain.
think Bates' perspective is, anything that makes it cheaper is better. And maybe it's better to keep your enemies close. And I think she would prefer to have the crime syndicate, the crime noble house.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The downside to that, just so that you're aware, that means you're kind of put into opposition with both Black Sun and the Hut Cartel, at least on 13-14, because they are the 3 big dogs there.
That's a
That
real
doesn't
good
have to be
caveat.
a-
Thank you. Thank you for that warning. I love that.
Doesn't have to be a huge issue, but it's something to be aware of.
One last thing. As I look at my character sheet, I realized that Val at this point has 0 savings. So if, he went out or whatever, I was able to like cannibalize Bria's savings by chance, or because she had quite a bit, like she had this little thing that every time we did a job, she got like some side money and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I could imagine taking half of it or something like that, or a fourth of it, just to it would give me cash on hand if I needed to do something, but it's not, it's not cheap, right? Like I do 2 to 1 for it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that makes sense, kind of, if like Val takes over Bria's apartment, because I don't think that's been compromised, at least not seriously compromised.
Well, one person
Um,
did, her aunt, but
Yeah, yeah, and that's she's not going to Corsac about that.
Right.
So I think you could transfer over. I think to me it makes sense if you take all of her staff, but that means like Val is taking over Bria's. He's taking over her stuff basically.
yeah, I don't think she's gonna have any in prison. Maybe
She
she
could have
does.
a stash, so you could do half and half. So Bria, if you bring Bria back into play, she has half of her stuff, and that
Yeah.
could just be a cache of money or valuables that she's squirreled away somewhere.
Squirreled away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
that
half
makes
is
sense.
best.
Mhm.
Where's her? Oh, there she is. Thank you.
Yeah, I brought her.
Okay, so she had, okay, 1 full tier and then 1 tick. So that's 11. So I'll take 6 and she can have 5. All right, cool.
You could
Excellent.
obviously have a patron on 1313 as well. But I think we've been through this before, and the ones who are relevant, you haven't really been interested in. And it's kind of slim pickings there as well. So I think, and shifting to 1314, I think it makes more sense to the patron there. And a patron, just to be clear, it could be some powerful individual as well. It doesn't have to be a faction, but I'm not sure what would make sense. If you can figure something out, like it could be, yeah, some individual business owner, that sort of thing. But I think kind of it works better if we tie it into the faction game. A bit. That makes more sense to me, at least when you're at this tier. Like at the lower tier, it's a little bit different, but here, to me, that makes more sense.
Yeah, as a player, I like going with the noble house just because that friction that it will cause between us and everyone else, including them.
Does that house, does that royal, does that faction live in the park?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All the nobles have their like estates in the park. This is like
having access to a strictly off limits location makes me very happy.
Yeah.
So, it reminds me of that scene in Snow Crash where like he's having to jump through another town so he can become a citizen there, be protected by their laws. So anyway.
Yeah, and the park is this like really luxurious area, brightly lit, lots of greenery, that sort of thing. Very high walls towards the outside, and it's huge and very sparsely populated. And they have their like mansions and that sort of thing there. Yeah. Cool. So let me ask you this, by show of hands, who wants to go with the crime nobles? That's 2. And who wants to go with the traditionalist nobles? That's high, and Rich doesn't have an opinion.
Ah, they're so good. I will swing my vote to the criminals. Sorry, I'll go criminals.
Cool.
All right.
So that's House Nirumal, and there I put all the heads of the noble houses on the NPCs tab. They're in prominent citizens on 1314. I've split up all the NPCs between 1313 and 1314 just to make things a bit clearer. I'm not sure if the NPCs tab in this incarnation will continue to carry the weight of all these NPCs. I think we're over 100 at this point, but we'll see. As I noted in the channel, I've made some changes to make it a little bit more manageable.
Since we're talking about that, I don't know, it would take some re-engineering, but one thought I had was if you have particular NPCs attached to a faction, maybe, or sorry, a level.
No, go ahead.
Maybe when you go to the 1314, you see the map, you see the factions, and then there are the NPCs underneath it. It's all one tab. The thing is that you'd have to do a bunch of resizing because you did, the smaller grids on the faction level stuff, and the NPCs are wider, so you take a bit of.
You could shove them to the right, put big arrow says NPCs.
So instead
of
top and down, you'd have it far off to the right. That's a possibility too.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll think about that.
I think it's much better now. Like you did a great job, Lindisha. It was just a thought I had. Sorry, talked over you, Stephen.
No, it's fine. I was looking through some of the NPC stuff, and I noticed you know you have a great section for here's 1313 and here's 1314. I don't know who put it in place, but the little plus and minus signs to collapse things up at the top, like
Mm,
when we're collapsing characters. And if we could do the same thing with 1314 and 1313, then that would help collapse and build everything out.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
Yeah.
point. Just group them.
Just yeah.
Yeah. We can
Yeah,
also do
I-
that vertically on the current NPCs tab if we need to just like see certain rows. We can group and collapse the.
Yeah, I
Those
thought
roles.
about that, but I think since sometimes one person wants to check out some NPC that they
Yeah,
have
that's true.
conflict
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
and it will be kind of messy.
Yeah.
If it was like individual per person, which rows were collapsed or
Right.
not, it would be
Yeah.
perfect because then everyone could have the ones they're most interested in up. But I think it gets a bit messy with everyone like collapsing and expanding things.
Mhm.
Anyway, I think this is it's still okay. Like I said, I limited the number of columns off to the right so it doesn't go off the end of my screen. I don't know how it looks for the rest of you. But for me, I'd prefer not to have more columns than this because now I don't need to scroll sideways.
That's true. Yeah, it's just it's a personal like. Do you prefer scrolling this way and that way, or the rest is this way and that way? And you're the GM, so you get to do it however you prefer. That's the best part.
Yeah, yeah. I have that power, apparently.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. This was a diversion from the house or the head of house Niromal is not with the other noble houses because he's among the gang leaders instead of prominent citizens. He's kind of both. Actually, I should put him down there as well. Even if the duplication, because he is also a prominent citizen. So his name is Milidas Niromal. You'll probably not deal directly with him. I mean, he is, even if they're involved in crime, he's still like he's a legitimate businessman. He doesn't talk to street riffraff. He has people who does that for him. So. But if you're interested in getting them as a patron, I think you could do it as a job, or we could do it as part of do it as a downtime thing, or however we want to handle it. What makes sense.
A job sounds fun, but I'm up for whatever.
A job sounds fun.
Cool. We're at the half-hour mark. I think we should take a break here. So let's take. Okay, so we've settled on House Niromal as your prospective patrons, and since you're so close to advancing, I figure getting in with them right away is what makes the most sense. How do you figure you'll make contact with them?
Would maybe one of the families that we helped up last time have some connection with him, or someone like
Yeah,
second
Or
second
going
order
up-
there.
what we were just talking about, maybe they have a restaurant they go to.
Yeah.
There could also be complication if they are at odds with Skirba, with the Huts and with the Black Sun.
Yeah.
You know, we could get picked up for a job to mess with those two, and that could be our in.
Yeah, we're not super friendly with either of them.
Yeah, I think the having some connection to the Imperials you helped last session, I think that that's interesting. That could definitely work out. Like that person gets in touch with you and says, yeah, I told my relatives about how you did such a great job getting us out. They need this and that sort of thing. I think that that makes sense.
So if we want to
Cool.
actually mechanize that a little bit, are we about to go into downtime? Is
Yeah.
that right? I could spend one of my, so if I recall correctly, one of the fails that I had in the last session was one of my charges, one of the people I smuggled out needed medication.
Yeah.
And I could spend a downtime activity to acquire an asset to return medication to them, and they could be our contact. And that's the favor we did to them and how good it looks and all of that.
Yeah, maybe this is, they need a medication that's restricted on 1314. 1313 doesn't really care that much about that sort of thing, but on 1314, for whatever reason, you can't get it legally there, and it's hard to get a hold of. So you'll need to bring some from 1313.
Nice.
Perfect.
Cool. Yeah, who would you talk to on 1313 to get a hold of this? Because this would need to be more like the small supply they had at home. You need to either get them a large supply so that it lasts a while, or set up something that kind of like set up a supply chain for them long term.
So I think I would go to one of the contacts that I have in the underworld. Let me look at the NPCs and see if I can't set something up so that they, this would be on the drug side of things. And I'm imagining that there's a pharmacy where there are legal drugs that maybe get smuggled. And I'm going to go to a contact like that and say, okay, I don't need illegal drugs. I need, drugs that are legal in 1313. And I have a smuggling, I have a way that I can make it worth your while cash wise. And we can take them whenever we're smuggling people or guns or something like that up to 1314. We can take, a month's supply or something along with that and put it in the drop off for this person.
Yeah.
So who would be a good drug smuggler or drug contact? Let me look through.
Snot?
Huh?
Your rival? Snot?
Yeah.
Sorry, I like Snot to Duros.
Yeah. I mean, Snot would be good, especially if he's got an in now through my old gang. We have access to a pharmacy where we, can deal a little bit of drugs out of it.
Cool. So you figure Snot has an in with some sort of with a pharmacist somewhere.
Yeah, so I think that the Gray Mice, the old gang that I was in, have an in with a pharmacist who's kind of on the take. So things disappear from time to time. And maybe they might have a stash in the back that's not completely legal, and the Gray Mice help fence that. If I recall correctly, Snot came up at some point, was like, hey, I'm just trying to be your buddy. And I was like, buzz off, right? Just screw off, go away. And I think now I'm like, oh yeah, I think I try to go. We'll have to see how the dice go, but I think I go into the pharmacy and I'm like, hey, I want to do some business, and they're like, no, you have to go through Snot. Yeah. So let's get the dice on the table. For create an asset, what do I roll? Would it be a consort or a sway? Do I roll a skill like that?
If it's not you're talking to, it's probably consort.
Yeah.
Since it's someone from your background, it's someone you know. You're not trying to trick him or manipulate him or them. I don't remember the pronouns, but
in the end, it's up to you, Stephen.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like you roll the highest of your prowess, resolve, or
Right.
insight, or
No.
I just wanted to make sure I got the rules right. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think a consort makes the most sense.
Oh, sorry. Actually, acquire asset. You roll your tier.
Okay.
So if that's what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think.
Oh, wait. That's not right because that's a temporary thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if this is if you want to set this up as like a regular supply line, that's kind of what the job is in that case.
Hmm.
So then the job is this. Let's see. I think what this is this would be acquire an asset, which would be the contact through the NPC from last session, and that contact gives us a favorable idea and puts us in touch with the house that we're talking to.
Yeah, I think like the acquire asset, it's for getting something extra, something. Yeah, this would be really useful for this job. It's not to get things that are necessary.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So I think if you're trying to set up this drug supply, I think the job is kind of talking to this pharmacist, could be through Snot or some other way, playing that out, and setting up this drop-off point. I think those are kind of the parts of the job, because transporting the drugs, the way you describe it, transporting the drugs, that's going to be just something that happens in the background as you travel between 1313 and 1314, if you handle that side of things yourselves.
So my thought is that the job itself is going to be us talking and trying to get in good with the patrons, House Nabolis, and that this contact who needed the drugs was our way in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think doing this job is what they're going to want you to do, to like prove that you can do it, prove that you're useful, and get in enough with them that you'll get to talk to the person who actually will make the decision. So we're kind of jumping a bit back and forward in time here, but I think that, to me, that's what makes sense. But if you have a different idea, then please let me know.
Is this, so maybe this isn't acquire an asset for downtime activities. Is this more gathering information about the score or something like that?
Could be.
Okay.
It depends on,
I don't know if that fits better. Yeah.
This is it's getting. I think we're since we haven't like set the exact parameters of the job. That's why things are a bit fuzzy. So I think what happens is I've added an NPC for this person you transported. Her name is Hrani Nirumal. She's like a young woman or teenager. She was the niece of one of the. Actually, she's the niece of the person who got caught. She was staying there with them because I think because of this, she needed this treatment, this drug, and they couldn't get it easily on 1314. But this the uncle she was staying with, he could make sure she got her supply on 1313, where it was legal, and he was influential in the bureaucracy, so it wasn't an issue. But now that she's back on 1314, she needs this supply set up. And I think her parents are important in House Nirumal, so they have a lot of pull there. They're not involved with the criminal side of things, but they are closely. They are close friends with one of the like lieutenants of the head of the house. Who is influential in running the criminal operation. So it's kind of an indirect connection, but if you can help her parents get this drug supply, for her, then they will talk to their friend who can set you up as does that make sense, or is there something there that's too vague or too weak? Like, do we need to make it tighter connection? Is it more interesting if it's like her father is this actual lieutenant, maybe? Or her mother? That
Good with that. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, that all sounds good to me.
yeah, cool. So let's keep it tighter then. So she's the daughter of one of, what's his name? One of Lily. And she needs drugs that are legal 13, but not on 13. Cool. So basically, he would consider it a personal favor if you could set this up. And if this works, that shows that you can be trusted, you're competent, and that means he'd be willing to work with you. So that's the job: setting up, making sure that that she gets these drugs regularly. However you want to do that, he doesn't care. He doesn't care how you do it, as long as like you don't bring a lot of trouble along to them. Of course, he wants to be insulated from that, but he doesn't care what methods you use otherwise. So that part of the job is entirely up to you. And from what you were talking about, I think the approach sounds like it's social more than anything else, but I'm not sure if that's correct. If it's like working out something with this pharmacist.
So my thought whenever I was thinking of this is like my downtime activity, I was okay with that. But I think we should talk about what the plan is overall and make sure that everybody gets whatever they need to do, their downtime activity as well.
Yeah. I figure we should get the at least an idea of what the job is settled, so that everyone can play towards that in the downtime. So I figure there are two parts to the job, like I mentioned. One is getting the drug supply, and one is making sure the drop-offs work. And we don't need to like go into that in detail. But if you have a different idea, like if you want to set up like bribe some people in the customs authority to handle this for you, that's fine as well. It just depends on how you want to handle it.
Yeah, and that sounds kind of more in line with us in going up in tier, instead of like, oh, like this is a pretty minor smuggling job that's going to regularly happen. It doesn't make sense for us to personally handle it every time. Like, now that we're getting bigger, we have people to take care of that. So maybe the job is more like wrangling folks and setting up the supply line.
That makes sense.
Cool. So I figure we can go into downtime activities. And of course, you can do, if you want to do gather info to find out more about this potential supplier and that sort of thing, you can do that, and that can change how you want the job to work. Yeah. What approach you want to take to the job. So as a reminder, you have the ability that lets your crew, you can send one of your cohorts, that's the gang or Eve the Great or Chop Chop Droid, you can use them to acquire an asset, reduce heat, or work on a long-term project. And if you do a passenger job, you get 1 extra downtime activity, but that's not what you're doing this time, it seems. So that doesn't apply.
Can we use
Cool.
them to reduce heat on 1313?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, so now we're kind of like juggling 2 heat tracks. Maybe it makes sense to put some resources towards that.
Someone
Yeah,
should tell John, like, hey, we've doubled the consequences for our group, just so you know. We're making it even more difficult for ourselves.
Actually, it's kind of making it easier for you because the heat is split between
Oh, right.
two different. You don't get twice as much heat.
Oh, that's true.
We divide the heat between the two.
Oh, okay. Well, we're cheating.
True.
Okay, got it.
Cheating. Awesome.
I think you need a bit of help the way you've been building up heat. But I just stole this from Scum and Villainy, where you have the different heat tracks for the different systems.
Right. I really do think it was Bria's fault that we were getting so much heat and never worrying about it.
She was not alone in that.
Yeah, Enema was all about.
We're all
killing
kind of just like.
She was
Yeah.
on the forefront, right?
It was like every
She
time you
declared
had a
herself
chance to
leader.
kill some Imperials, you killed some Imperials, and then the heat went up.
Yeah.
It's true.
This sewer kills fascists. Oh my god.
Yeah. So let me toss out some questions. Etema, what are you doing during this downtime?
Great question. 2 downtime actions. I really think she needs to indulge a vice. It was nice getting so many dice, but being 1 tick away from another trauma seems like a bad idea. So Edema's gonna go out and pursue one of her vices. I think she's going to go trolling around in 1314 to try to find some place, some kind of pleasure den. Right? She's got Amara's down in 1313, but we've been spending a lot of time in 1314, so she's just gonna wander and see if she can find.
I have a contact for you. Yes.
Ooh, okay.
NPCs. God, where did I put her?
Luston.
The names. Forgive me. Yes, Luston. Yes, Luston. Cell B28 on the NPCs tab.
Oh goodness. Yep. That sounds good.
Cool.
I don't think her species should be companion, probably, but
Yeah, well, I think I was just trying to copy and paste as quickly as I could.
yeah. Sorry, I should.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah,
Luston
and she
sounds
works
fun.
on 1314, probably in the glitz, I assume, since you like to hang out there and not pay your bills.
Oh no, she's gonna expect me to like skate and not pay. All right, this sounds great. I have no idea you would set me up this way. It's great. Good
I
job.
have these bills here. I'd like you to.
Yeah, I'm a friend of Val's.
His name carries weight here, a weight of debt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, cool. Is anyone coming along, going along with Etema to?
I mean, I guess
Well,
I
now
have
I
to-
know. Now that I know where to go, Edema would definitely say, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go out and we're going out to a brothel. You guys want to come along to get your own fun?"
Well, I think I'm taking you there, right? I have to
Oh,
introduce
Val's taking me there. Can you introduce me?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll be meeting, what's his name, Rich? The other character you have?
Oh,
Tycho.
Tycho?
Yeah, maybe Tycho will be there too, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he would pretend to look down his nose at such a thing, but he'd
Yeah.
probably be there.
Yeah, cool.
Volko could use some stress relief, but maybe you have different plans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to screw those. I got some ideas down there.
Yeah, cool. So what's Luston like?
And maybe keep an eye on Bade while we're setting up whatever needs to get set up down there. Whatever.
Keep an eye on Bade. Bade's better than us in some
Yeah.
ways.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
She learns so much quicker than the rest of us. Well, so I wrote down that we both vie to have the latest gossip. I didn't really know how that would play out, but that's there. Why is my work email up? There we are.
This place where she works, is it kind of a high class place, or is it you know,
I think it's associated with
pretending to
with the gambling hall. So, kind of like in Westworld, right? Like you've got the tavern down there, and like the ladies upstairs and the guys upstairs. So I think there's like a like the gambling thing in Rogue One, except this will actually have a point for us to go to it instead of being pointless. So yeah, like that place there, maybe.
yeah.
So I don't know. What kind of a personality should she have?
We don't need to get into it. If
Oh, okay. I don't have anything immediately.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be angry when she sees me. So no matter what it is.
Yeah, so you're just guiding Etaba to the place and then not going inside, or
Well, no, I'll be eyeing the gambling and but no, we'll go in together. We'll go in together.
yeah.
Gonna introduce
Cool.
my friends. Well, friend, she already knows Tycho.
Rich, you want to make the roll and we can take it from there then?
You bet I do. This doesn't sound like it'll be trouble at all. It sounds like a great thing. All right, so indulging a vice, I roll lowest attribute, recover stress according to highest result. Lowest attribute for edema is a 3. So I'm rolling 3D. Did I not bring up the roller? I'm the worst. And I rolled a 6 and a 5 and a 2.
Almost a critical. Wow.
Almost a critical.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll recover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stress. I'm now at 2 stress. How does she Luston treat edema?
I think she very quickly figures out what you like. And since there is a Ratataki community here on 1314, I think she's had Ratataki customers before. And without going into too much detail, I think she's kind of rough, She's happy to be rough and tumble if that's what Etma wants.
Having her hair pulled.
Yeah. Whoa! It came off. Oh, darn it! Yeah, a little bit of rough and tumble sounds fun. Maybe even edema wants to be restrained a little bit. That'll be fun. Give up a little bit of control. She likes that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think she's very good at like figuring out what you're into without just like giving you a checklist. Here are the things I will do. Tell me
Nice.
what you want. It's like she talks to you, and without even realizing how much you're giving away, she's figured you out, and you have a nice time together.
Good. That sounds great.
Do you give her any information
I don't know what the
on us, either
information on us. Okay.
Like gossip?
Oh wow. What is Adam?
You tell her about smuggling Imperials.
I love
to-
6 stress. Yeah, I think she brags about smuggling some Imperials. It's a terrible idea. Adam is so bad at being a spy.
spies like us?
He's a bit of a security risk, I'd say.
Every time you don't tell me what I want to know, we cut off a finger. Mine or yours? Yours. Damn.
Is this any of your traumas? Is this like reckless or anything like that?
She's reckless. Yes,
Okay.
she is definitely
Okay.
reckless. She
So that
brags a little bit. Most
yeah.
impressive. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think I've played this game before.
It's like that.
So that's Etoma's stress relief. Mark, you had an idea for what Boko would get up to?
To stress relief at Skirbo's,
Mhm.
and I think we want to start a long-term project, and I think it's to pump either Skirbo or someone near there about the Hut Cartel and see if there's a way to if there's a weakness or a way to get more information on them. Basically trying to track down whoever whoever put the hit on my brother.
Yeah, because like Scarborough isn't technically part of the Hut Cartel.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
Kind of separated. I
But
think
they're like rivals, right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not like they're friendly rivals.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, he's still a Hut, and it's more that in the aftermath of the raids that the garrison did, that whole backstory thing,
Mhm.
he felt like he had an opportunity to make it on his own. And they, I mean, it's they don't like that he broke out of the cartel, but they also kind of respect the success he's had. So it's more friendly rivalry than like
Nice.
with Black Sun, where they
Yeah.
like nothing more than to murder each other, all of them.
But that makes him a good vector for information on them, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think like one of these thugs who doesn't look like a thug, who worked security there. Let me see what species they would be. I think there's a Deveronian working, whose name I will give you very soon. His name is Hogux. I'll put in chat. There was this, I believe there was a slight altercation, and he helped calm things down, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So he knows you. He knows things can get wild when you're there, but he also knows that you're in with Skirbo, so he cuts you some slack.
Nice. Cool. Let me do the roll for the Vice first. That's I always forget what that roll is. Where is that? Indulge vice. Lowest attribute. Great. That's 4.
Cool.
That'll take down 5. 4 dice, no 6s.
Yeah. So you do some gambling, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I also need to resist the consequences of going there at all. I think I'm okay staying there for hours. I do want to resist making a scene, though. Let's see how much stress I get back. And that's fully resistant. Okay, no extra stress. Cool, yeah, so it's a pretty chill evening of gambling and hanging out with folks. And yeah, definitely. Hogux is the one that I'm gonna be hoping for information, I guess. Yeah. So would that be a long-term project, or is that what would you say there?
Yeah, I think that works as a long-term project.
Okay.
What exactly is it? Is it just general information on the Hut Cartel, or are you looking for an individual you can target? Or
Yeah. So I think I am looking for the person who conducted the hit. I'm looking for the person who ordered the hit, and I'm looking for a way to get revenge on them somehow. Probably in that order. So the first step would be figuring out who carried out the hit.
Yeah. I think that's that shouldn't be too hard to figure out. I think it's like a 6 o'clock.
Cool. Awesome.
Because they're like the figuring out who the cartel has they have a certain number of people who carry out this type of hit. So figuring out which one of those shouldn't be too hard, but it takes you need to spend a bit of work on it. Do you want to roll consort for that?
Yeah, I was thinking consort with Hogux there.
Yeah, cool.
So, it's 2 dice. That's a 4.
Or is 2 tick?
2 ticks.
Sure.
A respectable start. Yeah, and I think that's maybe part of why I'm not making a scene is because part of the night is gambling and carousing, but I also have like a focus on kind of getting this guy in a corner and buying my drink and spending some time to sort of talking crime in general.
Yeah, and I think you can lead the subject into talking about like the Hut Cartel's hit guys.
Yeah.
And he can tell you who they are. He knows who it is who carries out the hits, and you don't need to get into that you're looking for the person who killed your brother. You just get some general information.
Awesome.
I will make a note of putting up some NPCs for that.
I think that's my
Cool.
time.
So that's Boko. Fade, what are you doing?
So I think for my 2 downtime actions, one of them is I'm going to work on the long-term project clock that I have for making friends with the zigzags. And the other one is I think I'll acquire an asset. And I think I'm going to shoot towards the gang, a cohort or a gang. And this would be an asset to help us out through the gray mice to get access to the pharmacy that's running the drugs or has access to the drugs that we need. Just as an asset for the job that we're about to do. But I think I'm going to do that with like consort or sway so that the gray mice don't know that, I'm going to use them to set up the original, the first contact with the pharmacy, and then I'm cutting them out, right? We're a higher tier than they are. Those guys are scum. So I move past them.
Cool. To setting up kind of a false front sort of thing, like
I'm neglecting to tell them that this is an ongoing thing. Once I
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
contact, once we have a contact with the pharmacy, then we're golden and we'll just keep doing it. But, they don't know that.
yeah. So I figure a useful resource there would be, or an asset would be maybe some sort of go-between, so that the mice won't spot you going into the pharmacy. When they do these pickups, it will be someone who's not related to your crew. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it should be someone outside of our crew.
I figure. I mean, the people
Yeah.
in your crew, they're kind of. I mean, you don't need to acquire them; they're already your asset.
Let's look at the potential recruits that we have. Maybe Sparks. I don't think I've seen Sparks much.
No, I don't think she's been. I don't think really any. Most of the recruits haven't been in play. They're just people I put up there for.
I think that's great because I think Sparks is the person that, I want to recruit so that we can kind of string them along. They're not officially part of the gang, but boy, if they do a good job, maybe they will be.
Yeah. Cool. So Sparks, she's a scrounger from the fringe, which is kind of where you usually park the ship. So you could definitely get in touch with her there. I figure, yeah, let's make the roll to see how well that works out.
So this is tier, so it'll be 2 dice.
Yeah. And you can get, we should remember this, +1 die if a friend or contact helps you. We need to remember that for all the downtime activities.
So I can get an extra die if I have a contact that helps me, and would that be Sparks, or would I need somebody else?
This would be someone else because you're trying to acquire Sparks as an asset.
Okay. And let's see, who could that be? Who could help me? Can you put yourself on this roll?
Sorry?
Can you push yourself?
Oh,
I think we have in the past.
Yeah, I think you can.
Okay.
A suitable someone who could help you could be Shaltik and Rianaba, the techies who are on loan to you from Becker as payment for the guns. I think they've acquired parts from Sparks. She goes out into the near part of the rend, grabs some stuff, and some of it she passes along to the rebels.
So we have an established relationship. So basically, they can help grease the wheel a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll do that.
So that's just an extra die without anything special.
I'll roll that and see what happens.
Cool.
My highest is a 4.
Highest is a 4. That means she's a tier 2. And she, at this point, I mean, this isn't her specialty, but she's, I think she'd count as a cohort.
You could spend money to make that roll better, or is that some other
Yeah.
situation?
You can if you want to.
I can make her tier 3.
Yeah, and basically she'd roll her tier in dice if she needs to do something. If it's to do with her specialty, which I figure would be if it's something mechanical, techie sort of thing, then she gets an extra die.
Okay. And primarily we want her to be the interface for the gray mice to take the drugs back and forth. So I think that's worth a cred. So I'll spend that and make her a tier 3.
Cool. Cool. So that's one of your downtime activities. Yeah. Cool. Val, what are you up to?
So this is to the group. If this storyline is hackneyed or you don't want to pursue it, let me know. But I was thinking that I could begin working on getting a pod racer up and going and get a racer into the races. And whether that's Bade or somebody else is fine by me. But if y'all don't want to do pod racing as a storyline, I completely understand.
Super into it.
I like it.
I think we started that last session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
Bade was bragging to the zigzags about what a great pilot she was.
Okay,
so,
perfect. That's
And I
yeah.
think-
Played right into our hands, guys.
Yeah.
and if I'm not mistaken, the downtime action we had last session for our team member, our gang member, was the chop shop droid was working on a pod racer, exactly like what you said.
Yeah.
Right,
Perfect. That's
yeah.
exactly who I was going to go to. That's exactly
Fantastic.
what I was going to go to. Okay.
Cool.
Stephen, did you do any stress reduction this downtime?
I have not, and I'm relatively low on stress.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm good.
Do you have a trauma?
I do.
Okay. So as a reminder, we have to take 1 stress if we don't do stress reduction.
Yeah, and I'm
That's-
fine with that.
And
Thank you.
I'm at 0, so I have to go.
I've forgotten about that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that as well.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this, I was like, I can't do stress reduction unless I just want to automatically go into some sort of failure. And then I was like, oh yeah, or I can do something else and just get a little bit of stress. Cool. So
I think what we did last time was Eve the Great worked on like a swoop bike for Bade to like impress because the zigzags, they're a swoop gang. They do smuggling along the thoroughfare in 1314 basically.
okay.
And Bade was trying to get in good with them, and we had Eve work on a swoop bike, but transforming that into a pod racer, not a big deal. That's absolutely something.
Wow. Okay. Well, why don't I go the other route for the moment then? Maybe we need a garage crew. So that, I mean, I don't know if pod racing does, like, pull off to the side like NASCAR does, anything like that. But at least somebody that'll maintain the ship between the racer between races or something like that. It's a little egotistical to think like, this is going to work so perfectly that we're going to need a garage crew. But I think that's kind of who Val is. So I was wondering if maybe there is a garage where the racer either was recently quit in anger or got hurt or, heaven forbid, died. And like they're kind of like, well, what do we do now kind of thing. And so I can.
So we need to murder a pilot. Is that what you're saying? We need to.
That's
our next job. Yeah.
That's what
And
Bria would. That's totally what Bria would do. It's like, let's make an opportunity. This garage crew is the best. Let's kill their guy.
It's a good garage crew.
Let me ask, what's your goal like in a mechanical sense? Are you looking for an asset? Are you looking for something that's like something on the crew sheet? Is it a new cohort? What's kind of the
I think it's a cohort.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
It
Because
sounds...
then they'll be part of our gang in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be I think everything else doesn't, either that or a long-term project, but either are fine with me. But if we don't have enough NPCs lined up for our 12 people, then if everybody's into it, I could see if a garage crew could fill up some of those spots.
Cool. So this could be because you have your gang of rovers who are like the crew. Currently, they're mostly the crew of the ship, like they're crewing the ship, protecting the ship when you're traveling through the realm.
Cool.
Since several of them are your ex thugs. They used to be your thugs gang.
Right.
And you have Eve, who is an expert chop shop droid cohort. So this could be like we split off some of the gang to do this, or it could be a completely new cohort. And in that, if it's someone new, it makes most sense to me that this is also an expert. Like we focus on one individual person in this garage crew, because otherwise we'll have a crew of 20 people working in the garage pretty soon. And that.
All right. So I want the head mechanic then.
Yeah. Cool. Then I figure we'll set this up as a long-term project, like working on finding a garage that's suitable, convincing them that they want to work with you, that you're reliable, that sort of thing. However you get in good with this garage. Does that make sense?
It does.
Cool. I think this is an 8 o'clock. I don't want to make it too much work, but it's still acquiring like a permanent asset for the crew, so it should require some effort.
Yeah.
Cool. So you want to work on that?
Yes, I do want to work on that clock. So again, this can be struck down, but I do have one die, or don't I? Shoot, I didn't go with that. Yeah, I had to make that part of my mental image of my character. So I'm going to remove the dot I put into hunt, and I'm adding it to a tune. And I was just going to kind of let the force lead me where I need to go, more like a lucky thing, not a praying kind of thing. But, I've never used a tune in the game, so I thought maybe I could do that.
Yeah.
So, just kind of like post race, like walking around and just looking in different bays and stuff like that, and just feeling out who might be the one for me.
Letting intuition guide you, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, this is the same intuition that makes him a perfect gambler, always right. So never has debts.
That's why you need to skip out on your bills, because you're so good. So and as just to reiterate, if you have someone, a friend or contact who can help you, you get an extra die.
Oh yeah, so my chop shop friend.
Yeah.
So maybe he maybe I don't what pronouns did I give this person? I don't. Did y'all when you met Tetra, did y'all give pronouns to the droid?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I recall.
All right. Well, I used him, so I'll go with him. Maybe he just someone that'll let me get down where the garages are in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not common access. So I get a press badge. Or at least press credentials or something like that. So I can walk around and ask questions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. That may not be Tetra then. Do we have anything involving the press in our crew?
I mean, you are. Let's see. You're from the planet
Oh, I mean, I was
Alderaan.
yeah, well, I mean, I was saving Alderani. I'm not sure if I was from Alderaan, but yeah, might as well be. I wear their
Yeah,
clothes.
yeah. I mean, you're Alderani, and we have the Alderaan Expatriate Network, who are like Alderaan ex-media people trying to get
Oh.
out the truth about that. They'll have contacts in like the Imperial media, that sort of thing. So that's definitely a way you could get them in there.
Okay. Do we want to make up an NPC or do we want to just move forward?
Let's move forward for now, and
Okay.
but I'll make a note of creating an NPC.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, I've got a press badge. Also, one of my character things that I can take later on involves disguises, so this kind of sets that up at some point too. Okay, so I have 2 dice now.
Yep.
And okay, so I'm gonna roll 2 dice. Okay, Val, don't screw this up. Okay, I got a 5.
5 is 2 ticks, unless you want to spend a credit to push it to a 6, which would give you 3.
No. I'm not at the spending money phase yet. I'm just at
Yeah.
the talking people phase.
So I figure you get down into the like garage area. I think all of these garages are pretty close to each other. There's like an open courtyard almost, and then the garages go off of that. And the garages are kind of open. They can roll down, like close them off, but they usually only do that at night because they have to run around, get supplies, that sort of thing. So they're all pretty friendly with each other, and they're rivals, so maybe they're not friendly, but they all know each other. It's easy to go around and talk to people and like go from place to place and get a feel for what's going on in different places.
Rich,
Yeah.
our swoop gangs game, what planet is that on?
One that's upcoming.
Or the one that had my character with the governor on her bike?
Terrace, I believe that was.
Okay, so
Terrace,
it's not on Coruscant. Okay.
No, it wasn't. I've never run a swoop gangs on Coruscant, but now I kind of want to.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking like she might be walking out of the garage as like an Easter egg kind of thing. But all right. Okay. So I'm thinking that whoever this person is, they also are connected to organized crime. So maybe a swoop gang that comes up in a future session with Rich.
Yeah, I think the mechanic you pick out as suitable, who seems like they have the right attitude that you're looking for and that sort of thing. I think they're an ex-member of the Zigzags. Used to be in the gang, in the Zigzag swoop gang, but they're not active there anymore. They've kind of moved on to being a mechanic, but they're still like associated with the gang.
And they would love to, yeah, and they would love to help Bade prove being better than the Zigzags because they've got like a beef with them, right? So
yeah.
Cool. Do we want to role play or do we want to move forward?
We can play that out a little bit.
Okay. Well, if we take a break, I might be able to figure out a species between now and then. It's 30 after.
Yeah, we only have about 20 minutes left.
Oh, I thought we were
Uh,
going. I thought. Okay. All right. Never mind.
We can, or sorry, actually, we can go a bit long. That's fine. So yeah, we can, or we can just figure out who they are right now. What kind of person are you interested in?
I was trying to think of like the least likely species to be involved in pod racing, right? Like you're scratching your head as to how this person's story, because that means they have like some sort of, you know, at least some sort of two-dimensionality to them.
Like a
so-
Gamorrean?
Okay. Okay.
That was just the first thing that
Yeah.
popped up in my head.
Oh, I can't remember the name of there's one kind of blob species that fits themselves into encounter suits that would be hilarious as a pilot. Because how would that
Well, this would be a
even go?
mechanic. This would be a
Yeah,
mechanic.
this is
Oh.
this is
Sorry, for some reason I thought you were talking about the pilot.
Yeah, no.
someone who could be, who used to be in the swoop gang, who's now a mechanic.
Yeah.
I mean, could be one of the more like primitive species, like the what they call the whiffids or something.
Oh yeah, those guys are crazy looking.
What do they look like?
They've got giant heads.
Oh.
Yeah.
Either that or they're incredibly young and it makes no sense that they're the head of a garage. Like that might be, you know,
Yeah, that could be fun.
easier line to pull on. Maybe they're even younger than Bade or something like that.
Yeah, like a kid
Some sort-
genius.
Yeah, savant of some sort. Okay, internet, give me a picture. Oh, wow. Wow, unique.
That's exactly the picture I was about to send. Yeah, the whippets are bananas. They look like they're from the Land of the Lost. Sorry if you don't know that reference, Undish.
No, I don't think so.
Very bad TV show that I saw on Saturday mornings as a kid.
Yeah. All right, yeah, I'm into it. A whippet good.
Yes, you beat me to it.
Yeah, so this whiffid is he's big because they are big. And I think he's kind of like ordering the people around, no, don't do that. You need to fix this thing. And he's kind of very hands-on with everything. And it's clear that he runs a very tight ship, but he's very hands-on himself as well. He doesn't let everyone else do the work.
Yeah, and the name of the pod that was either that was or it will be is something like, you know, the spear or something like that to keep his background
Yeah.
all in it, right? Cool. All right, so it's probably like there's like 3 garages left. It's always dark, right? So there's no suns to set on course.
Mhm.
All
All light is artificial, and
yeah,
all light, artificial light costs money. So
right. Yeah. So, you know, maybe is it anywhere close? No, it's not close to the Rend. Okay. So, you know, it's dark to begin with, but whatever, a lot of the garages are shutting down or whatever is what I think. It's close to the end of this cycle.
yeah.
God, that's depressing.
Yeah, and I think some of them have already closed, but this guy he's still running his. They're still working because he wants everything to be. He's not leaving anything until tomorrow that they can do today.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I love it. It's like, you know, was it the force or was it just the last guy that would talk to you? You got desperate. Cool. So, I mean, I could be like, you run a tight crew here.
Yeah. There's a lot to be done if you want pod to run properly.
I saw that your driver had to drop out. Anything you? Was it a mechanical issue that they were dealing with, or was it a personality thing? Or
He downshifted when he should have upshifted. Blew some sparks. Couldn't take the turn properly. Got hurt. It happens.
yeah. So I've got this this pilot. Maybe so how would Bait, do you think you're somewhat famous, Bait? I mean, you've got like a 3 finesse.
No. Mostly, I try to avoid fame because the
Okay.
finesse, the fine motor skills mainly come from picking pockets
Oh,
and
okay.
that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But it turns out those skills of dexterity and quick reaction also translate pretty well into driving.
Yeah. Okay. So I have on my character sheet like an important hollow vid or something like that. And I'll show some like tight maneuvers that Bait has done in the ship that we have. And then pull up like maybe a hollow just of what Bait looks like or whatever. And then maybe he recognizes Bait from like the grumblings with the zigzags or something like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to bring it all in together. Maybe I don't have to. But
Yeah,
let's start with just the like, I've got a pilot and let me show you what's going on. And I'll be like, here's my info. Think about it, kind of thing.
yeah. I'll look at it. There's no shortage of people who want to drive a pod.
Right.
Not everyone who wants to is cut out for it.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe that's the complication. It's going to take a while before he responds or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no complication here. This is just advancing the clock.
Advancing the clock. Okay.
Yeah. So you got 2 ticks on your long-term project.
Yeah. So I leave the hollow with him, and it'll have Bait's image on there. And if like the zigzags and like rumors get back to this guy, and he finds out, maybe he'll think, oh, okay, Bait's the way to really diss the zigzags, kind of thing. So we'll just we'll lay the groundwork for it. If this were the end credits, it would just like be focused on Bait's hollow while this guy goes off and he's fixing stuff in the back of the garage or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh.
2 ticks down, 6 to go.
Yep. So Bade, Etema, and Val each have 1 downtime activity left, and you have the activity that the crew can do. I think Mark, you mentioned maybe reducing heat on 1313 for using the crew for that.
Yeah, that seems like
or using one of your cohort.
Yeah.
So is this just the gang doing good deeds, or
cohorts? What would they be doing to reduce our heat? Maybe they're not doing anything. Maybe they're like, y'all like simmer down for a minute. We got stuff going on. We need you to just be quiet. So I'm sure they get up to their own shenanigans on their own time. So maybe it's like less of a doing and more of a not doing the usual.
Yeah. Just keep them on the ship and keep them out of trouble. That sort of thing. Cool. So I believe they roll their tier. So that's 2 dice.
Let's see what we get. That's a 6.
Nice. That's all of your 3 heat, I think.
All right.
Yep. I will remove that.
We should have them not do more stuff more often.
Yeah. Cool. So I think we'll finish up downtime, and then we'll do all the after stuff, and we'll get into the job next session, or maybe we do the engagement role, just to have that set up. So Bade, Etema, and Val still have one downtime activity each. You can do gather info if you want to do, and that's not a downtime activity, that's an extra thing if you want to get more information about the job.
Val just goes to a range and practices blasters, and he'll take 2 in insight towards Hun.
And
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead,
Sorry.
please. Yeah.
Nope. All right, said go ahead first.
Bait is just going to work on the speeder bike that she's going to try to use to show off to the zigzags. So I'm going to do that as a long-term project. I'm going to do that with Tinker. And let's see what that looks like. So that's a 5, which is 2 ticks, and that finishes it out.
Sorry.
So
three,
this was the
right?
long-term project of making friends with the zigzags.
Yeah.
And that was, there were 2 ticks left, and I rolled a 5, so that finishes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that speeder bike being ready to show off to the zigzags.
Yeah, you got a nice swoop bike. Eve the Great is not impressed with your mechanical abilities. You're an inferior flesh being, but I mean, you're sure that you were the one who did the real job. Yeah. Cool. So swoop, the way I've understood it, swoop bikes, they're kind of speeder bikes, but they have like a proper flight ceiling, that sort of thing. But I'm not actually sure about that. Rich, do you have no more?
I don't know of an actual difference between a swoop bike and a speeder bike. I just thought the swoop bikes look cooler or something.
Yeah. I'll do quick Google. Propulsive lift vehicle designed for speed, more dangerous version of a speeder bike. That both its enthusiast and its detractors described as an engine with a seat. So yeah, that makes sense. Cool. So essentially, you've taken a speeder bike, removed a bunch of stuff from it. That's just weight. If all you're interested in is in speed, and upgraded the engine, that sort of thing. Are there any particular details you've added to make it like look cool or something?
I think there are like some secret compartments and potentially some attachments. So I think there is a possibility to I don't think we've built it yet, but I think there's a sidecar that we could attach. There's a little place it could bolt on and that kind of thing.
Yeah, cool. Like that. Yeah. So since this finishes off the long-term project, that means you figure this, you get this swoop bike done. You meet up with these 2 zigzag members you met in the bar by the pod racing track. Maybe you go there together with Val. Like Val goes off to talk to the mechanics. Bade, you go off to show off your swoop bike to your new friends. And you can meet up after, maybe. We can get a little scene, because I realized we've almost had no like PCs together in the scene here, and that's making me sad. But yeah, so you talk to, what did I name them? Spin Out, Take Off, and Millions. They're the ones you talk to. They're on row 57 on the various scoundrels. Take Off is the one who was like, yeah, you could beat that. Yeah, I'm sure you're a great pod racer. I think you did like showed off your reflexes a bit, and he's like, yeah, you can do it. And the others are perhaps a bit more skeptical, but now they see you've got a proper bike, and that's so they're kind of like checking it out, checking the engine and that sort of thing. Yeah.
And I think I'm like, I think they start to inspect it. I'm like, you don't inspect an engine that way. Here, hop on. And I get on, they get on theirs, and I think we race, right? I'm like,
Nice.
you can't inspect a bike without seeing it move. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've done the project, but let me get a finesse roll just to see how well, if you can actually impress them as well.
Yeah.
Or if they, I mean, they'll be friendly either way, but just to see if they're impressed with your skill and not just your willingness to risk your health by getting on that thing.
Yeah. So let me roll that. And I got a 6.
Nice. Yeah. So you're in the glitz. This is kind of like the equivalent of quite late at night because the pod races are shutting down. That's why Val is there talking to mechanics. So there's not a lot of people out in the streets. You do basically a street race, like around a few blocks. So what is a thing that you do that impresses them?
I think it's actually similar to something we see in episode 1 during the pod race. Basically, I think that there's as we're racing along the street, there's like a little like sidewalk ramp, and I peel off and hit that ramp and gun it, and that pops me up to like balconies, like a level up, and then I pop it again and I get on the rooftops, and then whenever it's time and they think, I'm way behind. And then at the very end, I pop off that rooftop and gun it to get ahead of them.
Yeah, that's cool. They're and I think this is Spin Out. He's been a bit quiet and reserved, but when you do that thing afterwards, he's like puts his hand on your shoulder and like, yeah, you could do this. We should talk more.
Yeah, we should.
Cool.
And then the camera
So-
pulls back and the mechanic has watched the race and has the hollow in his hand. And he's
Yeah.
like he's seen baited action.
And I think as Bay does this whole thing with the different levels, she's a little bit reckless with her running into the objects. Like I think there's some like aerials and wires and that kind of stuff that she just blows right past and they get ripped off. And I think we see the mechanic kind of wince a little bit as I'm doing damage, potential damage to the bike itself.
Yep.
Nice. So Bade and Val, you meet up afterwards to like go back to the ship together. It's a bit safer. Is Val, are you willing to ride on this swoop bike with Bade?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think I swallow down some jealousy and like, I don't want to ride the tram back. So that place smells. Yeah, so I'll ride on the back of the swoop.
I think unfortunately that one of the downsides of this bike is it doesn't go slow, right? Or it won't stay in the air. So I think that, it's sort of like having a vehicle that when you start it up goes at like 60 miles an hour or something like that. And then up from there. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah,
sometimes
it's like
bad.
when they start the speeder bikes in Return of the Jedi, they're full speed right away.
Yeah.
Or when Boba's teaching Tuscans, he goes backwards
Yeah,
really fast.
yeah.
There's no slow.
Mhm.
Fast and faster.
Yeah, so do you talk about anything on the way back to the ship?
So I think I tell them, the zigzags are going to be a good contact that we have up here in 1314. And, I think they'll help us move stuff if we need it. They'll be a good group to lean on. They're more established than we are up here, so.
How'd you find them?
Oh, I was just hanging out at Blood Gulch and, found them. I mean, they love it as much as I do.
And how did you score an audience with them with your fancy maneuvers?
Oh, I just told them how good I was.
I see.
Yeah, basically I saw that the racing that was going on. I was like, oh yeah, you can do better than that. And we talked for a little bit, and they told me to show it. So it took a little while to get the bike up and going, but yeah.
All right. So you talked game, and they were in for it.
Yep.
So
And that mechanic that you were talking to, what's up with him?
well, I was thinking since the driver had an accident, maybe we could find a pilot. It's pretty good. Start betting on them. Have an inside track on it all.
That makes sense, but I mean, you can't have a pilot that's good all the time, right? You've got to have a pilot that, comes in third or fourth every once in a while to goose the money.
Are you a gambler, babe?
Maybe. Yeah. We've been gambling before.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
You, me, and Boko went to a gambling den.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I'll say it differently. I'm like, well, you are a gambler, aren't you, babe? Do you think you can help me scout out someone who's willing to third and fourth and first and third and fourth sometimes and first the other times?
Oh, I can do that.
No. We don't. That's too close. Too close. People will know what's going on.
I bet we can find a good driver. But do we really want to trust them with our new little pride and joy? And I think I pat the swoop bike.
How about this? You seem good at reading people. You're obviously good at flying at driving these things. If you can't find someone that you like, we'll give you the job.
Ooh. Yeah. So they've got to impress me. That sounds good.
They do have to impress you. Deal?
Deal.
Okay. Let's get drunk.
I think I try and I go through some maneuvers that, see how much Val can take, basically, like
Okay.
spinning and that kind of stuff, to see if, he gets sick or, to see what happens. And then, we can stop at that bar and, see how well getting drunk after all of that works.
Okay. Rock on.
Yeah.
I'll resist that consequence.
That's right. Well, so how do you think Val takes that? I mean, has Val been through, tight scrapes and ships before where he'd be used to taking G's and
Well, definitely
just
in big
it off?
ships. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to figure out if he's been more of a if he's ever done any cavalry or footwork missions. Like, has he been military? Maybe he has been military, and maybe we don't know which side it was on. So yeah, let's say he's had some military training, and he like maybe he even like negs you, and he's like, you could have taken those turns faster,
Yeah, I hear that's what they do in the Imperial Flight School.
You do in every flight school.
Yeah. I mean, the Imperials don't think very much of their pilots unless they can pass that kind of stuff, or so I hear. Right, Val?
You're the pilot. I'll defer to you on this.
Okay.
So we're drinking, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. First round's on me. Maybe.
Yeah. Let's. I think that's. We can cut that scene there if that's okay.
Yay, role playing.
Yeah. I'd like to get Etema and Boko back on the ship. We still haven't named the ship. That's another thing we need to do.
Oh, nice.
Actually name the ship. Etema and Boko back on the ship, like with the whole gang there, because they're not allowed to go anywhere, make noise. So it's kind of, I mean, it's not exactly crowded, but there's more people there than usual. It's a big
Full
ship,
house.
so there's room, but there's always a couple of people hanging out in the lounge, that sort of thing. Someone comes and bothers you when you're trying to do something. So you two, what do you get up to on the ship while Bade and Val are out racing and that sort of
Mhm.
Boko, you want to gather a little bit of info before we go do this job?
Yeah. Player note, I'm going to be out, I think, the next time we're playing, because I'm out for the next 2 weeks. So Boko should be gathering information because he won't be going on it. Yeah, that's what I'm good at. So
Okay. And listen, how do you feel about this whole cozying up to a bunch of nobles thing?
it's not what I'm used to. I'm very much out of my depth anywhere near that. So I feel like I can make do. I can play whatever game needs to be played, but it's going to be pretty uncomfortable, I think. But you got to go where the money is, and if we're going to start being a more not legitimate, but a more regular business, we're going to need someone to get customers, right?
Yeah.
What about you?
I hate these royals, but I think they could use us. I mean, I've worked for the Black Sun and the Hutt Cartel, so I know how they work. We can make sure they appreciate us, and we got a ship now.
Yeah.
So
And
if it
rich
all
folks
goes to
are
hell-
like any other gang of crooks like us. You just got more resources, but at the bottom of it, they're all the same.
yeah. They want you to think other than that, but yeah.
Yeah, and we can pretend to think for them all we want, but you know what's going on.
You think these guys have enough connections to get Bria out?
Kind of hoping, or if not, they'll be able to point us at someone who will. Eventually, we'll find a way. She's good. She's gonna do real well in there, I think. So just a matter of time. Don't worry, we're gonna get her back.
Okay.
And if these guys aren't any help, we'll do it ourselves. Come down to it.
We better be ready to leave Coruscant if we do that.
Literally born ready.
It'll be. Yeah, I've only all I've ever been is a street rat, so. But there's still opportunity, and I'm not leaving here until Bria's okay.
And I have some business to take care of too. So squeeze them while we're here and use the juice to get out.
Yeah. I didn't trust you when we started. I mean, you were just
Cop.
Yeah. I was wrong about you. I really enjoy working with you.
I don't know how much I trusted myself. It was I mean, it's not much of a shift going from, a legitimate gang to one like ours. I don't know. You were probably right not to trust me for a while, but this is where we live now, and our family has gotten bigger, but same rules apply. Y'all have stuck together, and we've stuck up for each other more than I've seen any company or department of cops or Imperials or anyone. They can call us crooks, but we've got something they don't have.
Yeah. We do. We really do.
Let's see if Val's got a bar on this thing.
A bar? I bet he's got 3 or 4. Just break into his quarters. Probably where the good stuff is.
Bait has told you that. There's that whole shower scene many moons ago.
All right.
Yeah.
Bade's got
Nice.
me a key, so.
That's right. That's right.
Nice. Yeah. Etma, you still have one downtime activity. Do you want to do that now?
Yeah. Oh, it's weird, right? Because Edema would be driven to finish off the befriend the Ratataki community, but Rich doesn't know if I want to do it at the end of a session with no like payoff, or also take up a whole bunch of time and extend it. So I think I'll save that. Do we feel like there's any asset that we could use for this job?
I mean, you have Sparks as a go-between on 1313.
Do we need to get someone like in customs or anything like that to grease the way?
I mean, that's kind of the job part of
yeah.
it. But you could get like papers
or
like
ID,
documents or something that could be useful.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Yeah, some papers, a thing we've never seen in Star Wars.
I don't mean papers.
I know. It's funny that, it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Sorry, I wasn't trying to criticize you. It's just one of those
Dialing the phone. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Rolling down the window. Like my son has no idea why it's called that. Who would be a good contact for us to hit up? Oh, you know what? Papers. Hey. Sorry.
Petra, maybe.
Sure. Petra makes.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Petra seems like the right person for this. Okay, I guess this is a consort.
Acquire asset is roll your tier.
Oh, thank God. I'm way better at tier. Our tier is 2.
Yeah. And
Yep,
plus 1
that's-
die for pet.
Okay. Here comes 3 dice for acquiring an asset, not 5 dice, Rich. Ah, 6.
6 gives you tier 3 documentation.
Should we stick that under smugglers or should I? Where should we put that?
Yeah, probably. Or on the current job tab, maybe.
Oh, good idea.
We should have, oh, big pictures there. Put them down a bit. No? Oh, that's a font? The ranker's rule thing? Oh, okay, cool.
Never make a drawing when you can use a font.
Yeah.
Mario. I got to remember that font. That's dope.
Mhm.
Cool. That takes up my second. I noted it.
Excellent. I wrote in Sparks there as well.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Let's do the engagement roll, and then we'll do XP and that sort of thing, and we'll be done. So it sounded, when we talked about it, it sounds like you were going for social on the type of score. Like this is about getting the contacts set up, that sort of thing.
Think so.
Yeah.
We're really good at that, by the way.
Yeah, you're yeah. Let's see what you're doing. So I think the target here is the pharmacy, I guess. That's who you're trying to get at. So let's see. You start with 1 die. Is the operation particularly bold or daring? I don't think so. But it's not overly complex or contingent on many factors either. Does the plan's detail expose the vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? I think it's, well, the spirit of the thing. I mean, of course, they want to sell more. So that's, I think that's the equivalent here. They don't have particular defenses or special operations. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight? You talked about Snot, using Snot to get in there, so that should count. Are any enemies or rivals interfering with the operation? Kind of the gray mice, since you're trying to keep this secret from them. So that's, I think that should count. Is there anything else we could weigh in here?
Is this where the assets would come into play?
Could, yeah. Since you have a go-between, I think that could that will help you. So yeah, I think that could count for the engagement role. So that's
what about the papers from Etima?
I think that's more a thing you can call on during the job itself.
During the job? Fantastic.
And you could use Sparks during the job as well if a situation comes up where it should be used. So who wants to roll the 3 dice?
I'll make the roll. My sole contribution to the job.
Yeah.
That way we can blame it on you if
yeah.
since you won't be here.
A 5.
5.
5, so that means you start in a risky position.
Stop rolling so
and
well.
Fictionally, I think Boko is going to be like hanging out at Skirbo's again and like seems like y'all got this taken care of.
Nice. Okay, let's do XP. We'll start with the crew so that we don't forget that. You did not execute an operation this session. Did you contend with challenges above your current station? No, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
Did you bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one? You're currently professional and loyal.
Loyal.
So Etema and Boko did talk about getting Bria back. That's loyal, but I'm not sure that helped with the reputation.
Yeah. It feels like bolstering the professional side, like if we're basically setting up supply lines. So we're setting
That's
up multiple
true.
streams of passive income. So.
That's very true. That's right.
Yeah, I think that counts. And I think your discussion about getting Bria out is expressing the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew.
Yeah.
So you hit that one at least once. Do you think you hit it in some other way?
The conflict between Bade and Val a little bit with the banter on the bike account.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, not necessarily outright conflict, but definitely like a little friction.
Bade's like, you're an Imperial. And I'm like, come on. Come on.
But not denying it. Yes.
Wouldn't
That's
lie to
not
my-
an Imperial.
So that gave you 3 XP for the crew. Let's do the characters. Val is closest. Val, did you address a challenge with indignation or by putting others' needs ahead of your own?
No, I don't think I took any challenges at all. So,
Not that fits with that, perhaps. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I mean, my drive is to get us enough money so that we can start bribing our way into the cube. So, I mean, that's why I'm pushing for this. My background came up in a dodgy sort of way.
Yeah, that's true. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or trauma?
Well, no, there weren't, like, I didn't even get any pushback from introducing Edema to my contact, so I didn't have any problems with that. And I wasn't vicious to anyone, so no. So that sounds like 2 experience to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So, Bade, did you address the challenge with theft or guile?
I would say that bringing in the gray mice, but then cutting them out would count for guile. Yeah. Originally I was like, I don't think it caused any problems, but I think it cost us a dice in the engagement roll.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, perfect. Yep. So that fits.
And it's a potential issue in the future.
Yeah.
Could lead to conflict there. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
In the interface with the zigzags, saying, hey, we have to get contact with the gangs here and get on their good side so that we build a network of people that we can depend on.
And did you struggle with issues from your vice or trauma?
So my vices are pleasure and gambling, and my trauma is unstable, and I don't think so. I don't think I was particularly unstable in this session. Yeah.
Cool. So that's 2 XP for you as well.
Good.
Etema, did you address a challenge with violence or coercion?
No.
Well, I mean, the sex was rough, right?
I'm not sure if it counts as a challenge when you're paying for it.
I'm paying for it, so yeah, I think, and I think that I think no on that one.
Did you try to convince anyone through coercion or anything? I don't.
Well, we
don't
didn't
think so.
role play out talking to Petra, so that was the only thing where she actively was trying to negotiate for anything, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think you were kind of trying to threaten her with exposing her or anything. So,
Not at all. I wouldn't.
Okay.
did you express your beliefs, tribes, heritage, or background?
I think that conversation with Boko was a little bit about her beliefs.
Mhm.
And the thoughts around Boko and how she's changed her opinion of him, and he opened up a little bit too
Oh yeah.
about his own worries.
Yeah. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or trauma?
I think the trauma of Reckless may have set us up for a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So that's 2 XP. And finally, Boko. Did you address the challenge with tracking or violence?
Unless we count the looking for info on the huts tracking, I don't think that really counts, but
Probably not, but I think it will show up
Yeah.
later. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
yes, I did. Yeah. Yeah, both in that and like going over my cop background with Edema a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
I might have still been a cop when I joined. I don't even really know.
That was funny.
And did you struggle with issues from your vice or trauma?
No.
Cool. So that's 2 XP for you as well. We did talk a lot in the beginning, so I don't think it's weird that we're a bit lower on XP this time.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I think that concludes the session. We'll do some stars and wishes off camera.
Okay, I'll stop the recording here. Thanks, everybody.